Welcome to the Bard of All Trades podcast. I'm your host, BradElBard. And with me today, I got the boys from Scarlet Moon back from episode 4. And we're back over here. And we're going to be chatting a lot about Mansion MAYhem. Before we get into that, though, I want to give some shout-outs to my sponsors. Check out adarklegacy.net if you guys want to see some creative writing, horror, and pretty cool sci-fi stuff on that website. Check it out. Link in the description. Also, Valley Jiujitsu if you want to learn how to choke people. Great self-defense program over there at Valley Jiujitsu in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Check it out. Also, the premier MMA promotion in Pennsylvania, Art of War. Go check them out. Art of War is awesome. And you'll see me there doing a fight companion on the 12th with Brittany Elkin. That's going to be a good time. Additionally, Saga Jiu-Jitsu. If you're not in Allentown and you're in Horsham area or Hatboro, go check them out. Also, amazing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place over there at Saga Jiu-Jitsu. And that's it. And my other, I'll say Scarlet Moon and Mansion MAYhem are my other sponsors. So let's talk about them a little bit. So Nick, you hit me up at random this one time in the last couple months. And you said, dude, I'm putting together a festival. And I was like, no, you're not. And then you were. And then I was like,
you were like, no, you're not. Damn.
I was like, no,
I don't lie to you.
Who's putting this on? Who's putting this together? It ain't you. And then it was you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. I want to know, just because like I've never seen the more entrepreneur, if you want to even call it that, side of you. It's always the eccentric creator. So to be the one kind of putting things together, I was like, I need to get involved and make sure this goes well.
Hey.
And it's a great creative vision and everything. So tell me, man, from the inception, like, where did Mansion MAYhem come from in your brain to be like, dude, we need to do this? And, like, tell us how it's going right now.
Yeah, so, well, pretty much as a musician, like, especially in the modern era in 2023, you know, I value the connection of, like, my best friends are athletes and musicians, and I value the connection of musicians meeting other musicians to form something great, right? Like, a healthy lifestyle is what we're living for, and playing music in front of people, especially something that's going to be as comfortable as Mansion MAYhem, where it's run by musicians for musicians.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah. So how did you, like, get in touch with the venue and say, hey, like, I don't want any of this corrupt, like, Live Nation shit going on where the tickets are going to cost $400 and everything. Like, how did you just say, hey, I want the venue. We're going to be playing, like, all original music, so you don't have to deal with any of that other, like, copyright issue stuff. And, like, just how did you figure that out? Because I know... I actually don't know about this. I'm in the process of putting out my EP right now, and I'm looking into, like, BMI and ASCAP. Did you guys get involved with them for your music?
I don't think so. We did everything through DistroKid, so it would have been
separate,
whatever. It might have been included, or if it was an add-on, we definitely got it. I don't remember, frankly. I have somewhat lax views on copyright in general, but...
Yeah, dude. I have definitely similar views to you on that, where especially with, like, AI generated art and things like this, like, art is, like, and law, the way that they interact is very interesting, man.
I kind of prefer to try and keep the law out of art as much as possible. I just don't think it's a very fun cross section when it happens.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about, like, AI involved with, like, music and art, though?
I think there's arguments to be made on both sides, because I see why some people are upset, and they're like, okay, well, this AI was trained on my art, and now it's pumping out things that look like my art, and like it. But and then you on the flip side, you can make the argument. You can say, okay, well, like me as a musician, I listen to music and pump out music that sounds like the stuff I listen to, you know. So I see both sides of it, but I just think it's inevitable, no matter. Even if you are against it, I think it's here. I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And you might as well start figuring out how to use it and work with it and incorporate it, so that way you can keep control of it, so it doesn't take over your job or your position.
Yeah, man. It is the worst it's going to be right now.
Yeah, when it's just like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like it's...
Like just today. Like it's going to evolve every day to be like factors greater than it was the day before. and it's
Yeah.
incredible as it is now. What about you? What do you think about like the AI stuff? You mess with that yet?
Yeah, I mean, like I use AI art for things, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not like an
We
artist.
used it for the poster, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it made a wonderful war scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, for music, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna use it because like when you're a musician and when you're a student of the art form, you study that art. You don't just use a computer quickly to do things. And
I see it on both ends though,
think,
because here's like I haven't used AI music, but I do use like copy paste MIDI drums. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So-
which is kind of similar.
Right? Like it's definitely in the wheelhouse.
Well, and there's some specific things that I think could be particularly beneficial, like for like musicians, like our level. Like AI mixing and editing and like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if
like-
you could
yeah.
if you could have an AI be like, here's my rough tracks, make this decent, and then, go back in and do the finishing touches, add that, layer of artistry that a human can do. But like imagine how much time you could save if you didn't have to spend all that time like getting, reverb and compression and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like I think there's potential there.
For sure.
Like it,
sure.
but like I said, I think real human creators need to be in charge and finding ways to use it, like to help them in their workflow. Because I think you still need a human involved.
Yeah, dude, AI cannot replicate a soul. Like that's the one thing they can't do. And the music comes from the soul. Like expression comes from the soul, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think where it really is gonna show the difference is because you're gonna have these like probably EDM festivals, because it's probably really easy to make EDM with AI, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you're-
'cause it's all
literally- it's
electronic.
all MIDI.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
MIDI. There's no need for
Right.
physical or mechanical things to make that music. So you're probably gonna have some really dope EDM concerts. and
Oh,
stuff
I'm sure.
with, like lasers and stuff, and it could all be like AI, but
Yeah.
you're still gonna have like the jazz festival, like jazz musician.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
always going to be
I
there.
don't
People
think you
are
can really replace Victor Wooten. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, it's like the fastest drummer in the world is a computer, right?
Right.
But it's still there's certain qualities that humans provide to playing instruments that is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And because of the humane aspect of it, just it's a human playing an object essentially,
Yeah.
right? And even like the imperfections is sometimes what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah. But don't you think like AI's like mistakes could potentially sound good?
I mean, I guess you could program. See, I mean, I think eventually, if it gets to the point where it's like indistinguishable between what's AI and what's real,
Yeah.
there's gonna be more problems than just like, oh, does this sound like a real guitar?
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be like a real like reality crisis.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
Because if they get to that point where they're replicating like human error, AI's
Yeah.
that good, then it's like, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty far along then.
Yeah. Like I feel like by the time it's that far along, that like it could be like, here's a Jimi Hendrix song that like genuinely sounds like this
Yeah.
new thing
Well,
from
they
Jimi
made,
Hendrix.
They made
Like,
a new Nirvana song. Did you see that?
yeah, I have heard that
I
one.
did not.
Yeah, they generated like a Nirvana song.
It
It's
definitely
got Kurt
sounds
Cobain's voice.
Nirvana-y.
Yeah.
It's
I'll show
definitely
you it
not
after this.
100%, but
Yeah.
it's impressive.
Some of the deep fakes are funny though. Like
No doubt.
there was one where they do like comedy, right? And they use like a famous person's voice, and it's like, dude, it's you can clearly tell it's AI because AI still has it's still kind of
quirky, yeah.
it still kind of sounds like a robot.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
But they do some of these deep fake videos where it's like, damn, like you could caption that and thumbnail it a certain way and people would think it's like legit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there was one of like Biden doing speeches and stuff, and somebody
Oh, there's a bunch of those.
yeah, that's
and it's like, whoa, like I can tell this is AI for now, but when it stops becoming easily distinguishable,
Yeah, I mean, dude, like you could convince probably an old geriatric person that it's real. You know what I mean, especially if it like aligns with something that they might say, like
Sure.
or,
Not,
like,
not even
especially Trump stuff. You know
Not
what I
even
mean?
that. Like you
Like,
you
did
can
you see like the Xbox like
Yeah, yeah.
conversations? It's so crazy, dude.
Well, like you can get away with it if it's like a small clip, you know, like if you're scrolling through like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram stories or something stupid, and it's just like a 10-second clip of, you know, someone saying something that it's like, okay, that kind of sounds like I saw one, it was Joe Rogan like promoting some like random supplement product, and it was AI generated. And like even me, I've heard a lot of him speaking, and just like on a second scrolling past, if I didn't stop to be like, what is this? I would have thought that was Joe endorsing that product.
yeah.
Like, and that's someone I know. I'm aware of this stuff.
Yeah, like you follow them exactly.
Yeah, like it's so easy to get duped now, like on social media, especially if it's like a short clip. Like,
yeah. The internet's a dangerous place.
it
man.
is.
But yo, we went on a crazy tangent right there. I do want to come back. Tell me more about the inception of Mansion MAYhem.
Yeah, so normally like playing live music for the past I guess like 7 years or so, you look for different places to play, right? Different venues, and a lot of them their avenue of communication is through Facebook. So I looked up the Schuylkill County Council of the Arts, just different places to play. I look at like different musicians that I played shows with and then see where they play. And it's like, okay, cool. So this is where
That's a
they
good strategy.
yeah. So I sent them a message. And I said, hey, in this band, I'm in Scarlet Moon. I'm looking to play a show. Do you have any availabilities? And they said, not in the winter, but we may have to do something in spring. And this was in, I think like November or something, October, that I sent this message.
Yeah.
Like it was a while ago. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that's fine. It doesn't matter. Winter or spring, whatever. So they asked me, they're like, hey, do you want a tour of the mansion? And anytime somebody ever asks you, hey, do you want a tour or anything like that, you always say yes. I mean, it looks good, right? I toured the mansions, very, very cool, especially with the history with Yingling, the Yingling family, right?
Yeah.
It's like anytime I go to a different state and I see Yingling, I'm like, hey, Pottsville represent. Let's go. And I was talking to one of the event people there, and scheduled the date and everything, and the bands I chose, they all have very wonderful people. I'm close friends with everybody in the bands playing. It's good vibes everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, went from there.
So tell me more about like when you I'm gonna kill that fly by the time of this podcast.
I've been
ends.
trying.
Mark my words. So it was sick. You got to hit them up and meet them and stuff. So you asked, do you have any shows coming up where I could play at?
Right.
When did you say, dude, can I just use your guys' venue and put my own thing together?
So they
like,
actually,
how'd that happen?
yeah, they actually offered that to me. They were like, we don't have any, because they have a show there called Metal at the Mansion. And I'm not sure if they're having that this year. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anything coming up. And they said, hey, well, you could rent it. Like, we do weddings and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, cool. You know, yeah, let's rent this out. That's fine. Me and the 3 other bands that are playing can sell tickets. So what ended up happening was I was thinking of like the most economic way possible where the mansion could make money and the bands could make money.
Yeah.
And I think a ticket sale was the way to go. And the incentive was for the bands to pay off the rental fee, that those tickets are a little bit cheaper. Right?
Yeah, it's
So-
really cool that this is probably the cheapest ticket sale thing like I've
For
like,
sure.
we're ever gonna see again in our lifetime.
Yeah. I
probably.
mean,
Like I remember like other shows we played back when we were in like when I was in Scarlet Moon. Were they like $25
Yeah.
minimum?
Yeah,
Minimum.
yeah, and those
minimum.
well,
and
those-
you had to minimum sell 50.
Yeah.
yeah, and those bands weren't even like crazy big bands.
know.
Like the biggest one was Devil Driver, but it's like they're playing Reverb in Reading. Like
Yeah.
they're not that like
this is a jump off place to Philly. Or
yeah,
something.
like
yeah.
it. So yeah, it is nice that we can keep the price of the ticket down for people because it just makes it easier, to get people to come when it's cheaper and more affordable.
Absolutely, man. And then like the BYOB thing, they kind of had like something with like a liquor license.
Yeah,
and you
so
kind of just said, screw it.
I didn't even know like that we were allowed BYOB. Right? Because Zach from 1,000 Reasons, he sent me a message and asking me like, hey, is this BYOB? And I was like, I don't think so, because they said something to me about like other things where they could only sell Yingling. And then I sent a message to the council, and they're like, yeah, BYOB, that's cool. I'm like, that's gonna bring so much more people.
I know.
They know they can get alcohol for free, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on, man.
Cheap tickets, you bring your own booze, have a good time. And then the coolest thing that I've ever thought to do at a show was bring the Jiujitsu mats.
Of course.
And we're going to do that.
Of course.
So that, I think, is the coolest thing. I've wanted to put together some kind of like festival or something where I got to kind of bring different parts of the podcast together.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that this is a way that I can kind of manifest an early version of that, So it's super cool.
Hey, I mean, you introduced me to a lot of wonderful people, so
it's
like,
gonna
you're the connector, bro.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I know a few people in every genre, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. But that's sick, dude. I'm very excited. It's gonna be a banger of a time. So it's 5 to 9. So how much time did you think we were gonna need for the show? Like, what made you go with because there's 4 bands, right?
Yeah.
So did you have only 4 hours to get? Like, that was the allotted time for the rental?
No, but the rent it goes up the more you want to rent it. Right,
Okay.
Like if you want to rent something all day, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more.
Plus, you gotta clean up and everything afterwards.
Yeah,
there's that aspect of it.
I'm gonna obviously be there like hours earlier to set up and everything, and the musicians will be there too, just to, because we all want to be comfortable. And the thing about this that's different about playing at venues, is this this is like I said, this is built by musicians for the musicians. It's a very chill environment. It's like, all right, the switch time between sets is like normally like 15 minutes, but like if you go like 25, like I'm not gonna yell at you.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. Like whatever. There's not gonna be anybody yelling at you. Be like, oh, you're 5 minutes into your set.
For real. Right? Yeah. Right. No one's gonna be flashing the light.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've had that happen before, and it's not fun playing when you're stressed out. Like music shouldn't be like that, man.
Yeah, man.
Like music's all about good energy.
I couldn't agree more, and I think all the things that we're bringing together for this show are gonna work out and have plenty of good energy to go around.
Yeah, bro, and it's cool because it's like it's the people I know, the people you know, the people in the other bands know, bringing all their people. We're all gonna be here together.
Yeah, man.
I love introducing new people from different camps and just having them become friends.
It's gonna be a unique experience for sure, man. What do you are you gonna have merch there? I happened to just pull out my first ever rash guard line for Jiu-Jitsu, and it's gonna be here in time for the show. I made sure I talked to the manufacturer. I'm like, I need these for this show specifically. So
yeah, yeah. There's gonna be merch lines for the bands, selling whatever. When you played with us, we sold some questionable items.
Those bubbles sell good.
Yeah,
those bubbles sell good.
Tell me about the yo-yos. Merch. You got some shirts? You got some new Scarlet Moon shirts?
We have shirts.
That's sick.
Yeah, we have shirts.
Jeff's got some stuff from Axe Dungeon too?
Yes.
That's sick.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff. 1,000 Reasons is selling shirts.
Yeah.
So.
Nice, man. So make sure you guys that are going to be attending the show too, make sure you buy some merch, because merch is, I think, probably the best way to support the band.
Yeah. The merch and coming to the show.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were actually talking a little bit about distributing music earlier, and I'm kind of going down this journey now. So you have a lot of different places. Like I think the main two that I was looking into were DistroKid and CD Baby.
Yeah,
you know
yes.
more, but it seems like you know more about this than Nick.
Yeah,
does.
well, yeah. I mean, I looked into both of those too when we went to, put our album out as well. And
Yeah.
I ended up siding with CD Baby, not CD Baby, DistroKid,
Mm-hmm.
just because it was pretty simple. It was easy to do. I could get all the stuff on all the platforms. It was like $20 or $30 or something at the end of the day. And I was like, okay, $30 for my music to be on Spotify and Apple Music and Google Play and Amazon like forever. Like, that's a great deal. Like, I don't even care. Like, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to me that, now that like you can just record your album and go to DistroKid, go to CD Baby and put it on all the streaming services right there next to, every other artist in the world. Like, it's so easy.
It is sick, man. I think, and I was watching like a ton of like videos and like listening to podcasts about the whole process. I haven't married any of them yet for distribution, but I think I'm gonna go with CD Baby just because it seems like I know you said you did a one-time fee, but I know a lot of people are saying like.
Well, they might have changed that since then as well, because that was our album came out like right as COVID happened, so it would have been just before COVID. So who knows if their policy changed or.
Yeah. From what I've heard lately, I've been watching like a lot of. I'd like to think that it's relevant stuff in the last couple weeks, and it seems like CD Baby is probably the best option to just pay a flat fee, get your stuff out there, and then.
And CD Baby's been around forever. I mean, they're called CD Baby because they're from the CD era.
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's been a while since CDs were a big deal.
Printed,
like,
man. I don't know. Do you guys have your stuff printed on vinyl or CDs or anything?
We have done some CDs, but we've never actually gotten them done professionally. Like, we've always just like gotten cases and made our own CDs.
Yeah, Sharpie them up.
No, well, like we'll get cases and like make art and print it out and cut it in, like make it look, like Punk's DIY kind of style.
Yeah,
The Christmas album.
Yeah, we've done that, but we would like to get CDs of our album at some point, to have to sell at shows.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Hell yeah, dude. So tell me a little bit about like what's the Scarlet, like you guys are the headliners. You know what I mean? I got the best for first in the lineup of my podcast leading up to this. So tell me what can we expect from Scarlet Moon? What are you playing? A lot of your old stuff? Got a lot of new stuff?
It's a mix. Yeah. It's
Joey's coming out to play bass again.
Of course.
Good man.
We love Buck Boy.
Where's he at today?
He's in State College.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You should have went and picked him up. No, I'm just kidding.
We're going there next weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple new songs in the set. I mean, they're not new to us because these are like acoustic songs that we wrote during COVID, because we were like, okay, we're not going to be playing any gigs. We finished the album. Like, we don't really have anything to do as a band. It was, you know what I mean? It was like, what else are we going to do? So it was like, okay, well, let's write some acoustic stuff. I got a djembe. He'd bring the guitar over, and I got some other percussion stuff, and we just wrote a bunch of acoustic songs. And we're like, wow, these are pretty cool. And then, we sort of had the idea. It's like, well, why don't we play some of these like electric, like, I'll figure out drum parts and, change arrangements a little bit, and it'll be fun. So there's one of them, Big Squid, that we've been playing, a little while.
Big Squid?
Yeah. It's,
of course.
We've been playing that one a little while, live now, electric, and that's a great one. We have two others that we've never played live that are acoustic songs that we're going to be playing.
Are you gonna like open the set with that? Like, how's that work?
You gotta come and see, bro.
Yeah.
My man.
I don't remember. So what he said.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So yeah, like let's talk a little bit about like the logistical end of Mansion MAYhem, because I think it's not like I want to emphasize to everybody, like, this is really not like a normal show. Like, every band is coming together. Like, we're like, yo, do you guys have like XYZ equipment? We're gonna be bringing it, like, AVC equipment.
Yeah.
So it's just like such a hodgepodge thing. It's gonna be so random and DIY.
Discord helped.
Yeah, Discord.
It's almost like a professional basement show.
Yeah, dude.
Like, it's like
very much. That's
like everybody's like is professional about it, and but it's also like we're just throwing shit together. Like, hey, you got this, you got this.
Yeah, this
just making it work, and just hodgepodging it, but at the same time, like, everyone's taking it seriously, and it's at like a legit venue, like it's at a nice place. We're gonna have all this stuff, so it's still going to be a more professional than a basement show, but it'll have that vibe.
Yeah.
It'll have that, you know, down to earth DIY kind of feel.
Yeah. I definitely like I vibe with what you just said. That was a great description.
I love house shows.
Yeah.
They're among my favorite places. Like we played a couple house shows up at State College. That's, you know, where Buck goes. And the environment there is just so much different than playing at a bar or playing at I mean, there's some venues that can replicate it, you know, but then others are a little bit more like, okay, it's not as free necessarily as an environment, right? Like house shows, it's just like, all right, it's a bunch of people doing this for fun. Everybody's here to have a good time, you know. Alcohol everywhere. And we just play and have a good time.
Yeah.
But then, like, on the downside, since house shows are DIY, is that sometimes
Chaos
communication is terrible, and the details are sometimes like very last minute.
Yeah, house shows can be messy, you know,
Yeah,
like
100%.
you show up and it's like, you know, somehow like there's 6 bands and there's like 9 drum sets and it's like you only needed 1 and now everybody brought all this shit and you gotta like, you know, or you find out like last minute that, oh yeah, you needed to bring a drum set and it's like, oh well, now I don't have one. Can I borrow this guy's? It's like, okay, yeah, but the band's in this order, and like you just get into that stuff, which can get real messy. And
tell me about this. This is crazy, bro. Like it sounds like you're speaking from experience of a specific story. So tell me the story. This was a basement show in State College.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of an exaggeration. It was just like we showed up to a show one time, and it was like we didn't know the address of the place until we were like there. You know what I mean?
So did you get paid to do the show? Like tell me the whole thing from like start to finish. How'd you find the spot and like?
Our Joey, our bass player, you know, he had like a friend that did house shows or whatever and put them on. And for some reason, the people that put on house shows are always just like almost too relaxed. I don't know why they're all like that. But, you know, so like I said, it's just that thing where it's like you don't know exactly what time it is, like what bands are going on when, who's going to be there, who's bringing what. So it's like, you know, I lugged my drum set and brought it all the way up there and then found out and it's like, oh, there's a drum set there that, you know, the guy's letting everyone use. So now I didn't need to bring that. The other guy didn't need his drum set, you know, and you're loading stuff into like a tiny basement and like, it's just a pain. But
with stairs that are a major liability.
Yeah.
Right.
But on
like
the flip side,
stairs.
When you're playing, it's like, You'll never see more energy than in a basement concert. You'll be in this tiny basement. It'll be packed. You know, there's not a space left in the house, and everybody's going nuts no matter what you're playing, how weird it is. Like they're just there to have a good time.
No one knows what's in the jungle juice. We just drink it.
Yeah, like there's there's just the energy of those shows are incredible. Even if it's so frustrating, it can be so frustrating sometimes to get to that point.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you're like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
What's the craziest like mosh pit you've seen at one of those basement shows?
I mean, I played a show with a different band one time. This other band I played in called Filthy McNasty, a couple of my other friends, and we played some house shows in Philly. And the bass player for that band, Josh, he has just an insane rig, just like so loud that there were chunks of concrete falling from the ceiling.
What?
Like, just like his amp was covered in like concrete dust after the show was over.
Brown note shit.
Yeah, and it's just him, me on the drums, and then this other guy on the vocals.
Yeah.
And I mean, people were going nuts because it was like we played like some hardcore kind of adjacent stuff and then like some noisy, proggier kind of things. And, you know, people just like running in circles, bouncing around, just going crazy. Like, those shows just have so much energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him lose a shirt one time at a basement show.
You lost a shirt?
I lost my shirt?
Yeah, when we went to see Shit Person. You lost that M&M shirt.
Oh, I did.
The Slim Shady shirt. Because he was wearing a traffic cone in his head, I think.
True.
True Philly style. Got to have that traffic cone.
Yeah, I think didn't I steal that traffic cone or something?
Yeah, Philly style, man.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody stole it, but
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody stole it. I tactically acquired it. That's great. Oh my god, dude. I can to this day You brought up Devil Drivers, and I'm thinking about it, man. I got so plastered on that show, man.
Yeah, you did.
Dude,
Yeah.
Who was before them?
Head PE, I believe.
No.
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
Motograder.
Motograder.
Oh
that's
my
right.
god, I
That's
totally
right.
forgot.
Dude,
they were
I
in a
got.
band.
I don't know what. Like, cause we had the bus.
Yeah.
And I remember the drinks at Reverb were like, just
like
ridiculously-
$14, you know,
ridiculously
for a.
expensive. So we had like a case in my bus. After our set, we like loaded everything out, and then hung out in the bus. And I remember we just got like pretty not sober in the bus.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
Well, I remember
really
the
drunk.
security guy came out then at one point and was complaining. I don't remember exactly what his issue was, but
The issue was that we kept going in and out. And
Oh.
he knew we were not drinking
Yeah,
the booze
yeah.
from the show. He's like, you guys like can't come in and out like anymore. Like once you're out, you're like you have to pay to get back in. I was like, what, dude? We performed. Get the hell out of here. I just sold like how many tickets?
like the only reason anyone is here is because we all sold
I know,
tickets.
Dude,
Like,
get out of here.
Bro, or like the shows where like the local bands would have a bigger crowd than the headliners.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, and that shit ain't like uncommon in those sort of
Pay to
scenarios.
play. Yeah.
yeah,
man.
well, because the
Yeah.
promoter, they're like, okay, we got this artist. Now we can get bands to get on here. And then they get these young bands they know are desperate for a show. And then those young bands end up just promoting the show for the promoter. They sell the tickets. They're the ones posting in social media. And then the show happens. And, you know, the only people there are like the band's family and friends, which is
Yeah.
like nice, but like that's not the vibe you want for like a big
I was
show.
expecting you to match like what I
Yeah.
brought to the table.
Yeah,
man.
it's like, okay, you asked me to sell 50 tickets. I'm expecting you as the promoter, you should have like 50 or 100 people here. Like,
Yeah.
you should have at least as much as me, if not more.
Yeah,
Like, you're the
exactly.
promoter. Like, it's
Do
your job.
dude.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't mind selling tickets because, like, I understand, like, they need to make money. Like, and if the
Yeah.
band, if no one's coming to see you, you know, they're not going to make any money. But at the same time, like, if you don't give bands a chance to even
Yeah, break
like get
through.
fans like in the first place, like it, you know, it can be rough.
The attrition rate.
And there's
is
so
rough.
many of those venues out there that are happy to just prey on those younger bands
Yeah.
and, you know, be those self-righteous promoters or whatever, you know, and
Yeah.
because there's so many of them out there. There's so
Yeah,
many.
And the problem is there's so many up and coming acts too.
Yeah, well, and musicians will always be desperate for a chance.
Yeah.
If that's the only way you think you can get a show, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we did it. Everyone does at some point. Like it.
Yeah, man.
But then eventually you start to realize like how shitty it is, and you're like, why can't we just like put on shows, like rent a venue or
Yeah.
like
Mansion
house
MAYhem.
shows, Mansion MAYhem.
Exactly, man. And it's awesome to see that where we get to kind of see the evolution, and you know what I mean. I think up to this point too, the networking that I've done on my end has really like put me in a position where I can write music and put out music that I like really believe in almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like I remember like one of my songs that I just put out is legit about jiu-jitsu, and I wrote it when I was living in my school bus in New York, when I was in Syracuse, New York, training at Pin to Win and the jiu-jitsu gym up there. And it was just so, it just like, so this is what happened for this song. I'm going to tell the story for behind this song. So the song, the third one I just put out, I just released a video on my thing. It's the one you're in, where I had everyone do the chants. The song's called Weak Like in a Nightmare. And the title came to me after I started writing it. But I remember I got invited to go compete with these guys in Connecticut from the gym, and I was not ready. But they're like, you know, oh, we're just going up this weekend. Like, if you want to, you know, it's a free ride if you want to come do it with us. So, like, I'm not a bitch. I'm like, fuck
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, what am I up here training if I'm not going to go compete? But I was not. It was like a day's notice, so I could not cut weight to make my actual weight, which sucked. So I had to fight a weight class up while I'm like in the middle. I think I fought at like 185, weighing at like 176 or something. So it was like a 10 pound
Yeah.
gap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't gonna be able to cut 6 pounds in a day. I didn't have like a sauna. I didn't have the tools to do it. So I remember I was just like in the bus. I'm like, oh, dude, like I'm totally about this. Like I'm hard enough to like go after the quest, but this is gonna be an arduous journey. So I was like, let me just grab my guitar and like let me see how I can channel these emotions into my music. And I just found these chords that were just right, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this is it. And then I wrote a lot of the song, but then I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna finish writing this song because I don't know how the story ends till I do this tournament this weekend. So I like stopped writing. I had the foundation pretty much laid out, but I didn't know how the lyrics and like the crescendos and things were gonna go. So I go do this tournament. I'm in a round robin, and if you know anything about how that works is, if I lose a match, I'm not just out of the bracket. I fight every other person in the bracket. You fight everyone in the bracket, and whoever wins the most wins. I lost probably 6 or 7 matches. 1-0.
Wow.
I got destroyed, dude.
Yeah.
Because this is what I did. I did so let me tell you about this venue, dude. It was the summertime in this like sports complex. No air conditioning. Outside temperature had to be 80 or 90 degrees. Inside temperature had to be between 90 and 100, if not over 100. It was so balls hot in there. And you're in a gi. So, like, I'm fighting these fat dudes that are cutting from, like, 190 to make 185 and shit, or, like, 200. Like, you know what I mean? These large dudes.
Yeah.
And I just was not training gi at all, so I just got destroyed by then. And then I had this bright idea in my head. I'm like, I never did expert yet, and I was a blue belt at the time. I'm going to do my first ever expert division and see if I can go the whole division without getting submitted. I don't think I'm going to win because there was I saw names in the bracket, and I'm like, well, these are high-profile guys, and there's no way I'm beating them. But I wonder if I could do a whole match competitively with them and not get submitted. And they all beat me, but I did not get submitted. I don't think I got submitted once in the entire tournament. I just got outpointed, which a loss is a loss. You know what I mean? I don't think – maybe I scored 4 points in all 7 of my matches. So it was not a good look. But I remember a lot of the guys I went up with won. There were a lot of white belts and stuff like that. And it was great to see them kind of like do their thing and you know, catch the victories. And it was just an interesting dichotomy of the whole situation. It's just like hot as balls. Everyone's suffering. Moments ago, I just heard this Italian, or not Italian. He was this Irish father yelling at his son. Like, he was like, come on, Tommy, you're throwing up and you're waiting. You're making everyone wait in line. Like, he was just saying the craziest shit. It's like, bro, your kid's puking right now. Like, because he's nervous as shit to fight. Just, like, get off his fucking back. No one's mad that he's puking in the fucking stall, dude. Relax. It was just crazy, bro. And I remember outside of the venue, there was a creek. And I remember taking all my shit off after my last match. I think I was I might have been in my shorts, but no more than that. And I just walk into the creek and I just lay in the creek. And I'm just like,
was it cold? I mean,
oh,
I guess
it was so
hot,
nice,
right?
dude.
Yeah,
because it was like 100 degrees. Like
right,
yeah.
So my body was cooking and like just working super hard.
That's nice.
Yeah. And I remember just laying there, just like feeling the gross shame, like, and everything like wash off my body while I'm in this creek. And I'm just like, God, dude, I love jujitsu.
Yeah.
It's cool. Just like, this was such an awesome challenge and I failed.
Yeah.
Miserably. But I gained a lot out of that experience just because like it was the last time I suffered that much.
Yeah.
And it was great, man.
Yeah.
I feel like
suffering creates character.
Yes, man. And it was beautiful. It was just such a surreal moment. That's just so hard to describe. But a lot of the guys won. We end up going back and I'm sitting there like, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to finish writing this song yet. Because it ends real sad right about now. If I finish writing it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I'm back in Pennsylvania, and the Valley guys are getting together, and we're doing Battle at the Beach. And you were there.
Yeah, Wildwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys are going to be there. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to wait to see those results, and then I'll write the song. I'll finish the song, rather. So I did that. And I remember I wanted to win a blue belt tournament before I got my purple belt, but I didn't. I remember the first match, I was in a leg lock battle with my opponent, and I was right in front of Matt DeVory from the Black Basement Crew, that's who I was training with during COVID. Like when everything was shut down, we were the Black Basement Crew, BBC, hashtag. And I remember he's coaching his dude right next to me, and he sees me. He's my buddy. He's my boy. Sees me in this leg battle, and he's starting to coach me. Brad, get under the thing, blah, blah, blah. And then I have my own coach, and I lose him by like a point or like an advantage, some really small thing. I end up losing and not heel hooking this guy because I respected his shitty positioning and his submission so much. I should have fucking won that match. I don't know who he is. But don't you let me find you in a bracket, motherfucker. But I remember I lost that match and I was devastated. And I think I went in. I don't know. You haven't competed yet?
In jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
No, never.
I'm gonna try to equate this to the triathlon stuff that you do instead. Then. So like, you ever get like you ever drink like I don't know. I'm saying Four Loko, but I want to say like pre-workout, like a Red Bull or something before you run, and you're firing on all cylinders, too hot,
too much.
It's too much, and you're actually you're adrenaline dumping, right? That's what that first match happened because I was like, all right, I'm listening to some like Rivers of Nile. I'm gonna listen to some metal and get really hyped for this. I'm gonna like just Hulk smash this guy, but I adrenaline dumped, so I ended up losing. So I was out of the no gi stuff, which is what I was training. And then I go and do my gi stuff. And I remember, I'll tell the full story because it's hilarious. This next part. I have this guy that I had on my podcast as well, Sam Vorb. Shout out to the man. Great guitar player as well. But I remember going to him and I'm lamenting him. I'm like, damn, Sam, I just lost this damn match. I should have heel hooked this guy. It's what I've been training. And we ended up in 50-50. I was in a perfect position to submit this guy with what I was good at in the moment. And he said something like, "It's like, hey, yeah, man, you know, that's how it is sometimes, you know. So next time, just for your next match, just put it all out there on the mat, and you know, don't leave anything left in the tank. And if you lose, just kill yourself." It's like, damn, dude. So my next match, it's a gi match. I haven't been training much gi, so I go in. And I get my first ever break in a competition. I broke this dude's foot with a straight ankle lock. Because I go, like, first he puts a straight ankle on me, and I'm like, I'm done with the leg locks. I'm just going to do good jiu-jitsu to win the rest of these matches. But he does the same thing the guy that he just beat me by, like, a point did to me. I'm like, oh, no, au contraire, sir. So I counter leg lock him, and I rip it up. And I go slow. But it's like, you start feeling the Velcro rip. And I'm like, dude, come on. You didn't feel that coming on? Why'd you have to make me have a nightmare tonight about feeling like I can never, like, when you feel a break in your hand, you feel that. Like, there's a lot of nerve endings in your hand. I don't know if you know that. When you touch stuff with your hand, it feels stuff.
Yeah, well, you can, like, feel, like, a vibration. So, like, I can only imagine, like, you're pulling something out and you feel, like, a muscle tearing or a tendon or a bone. Like, that shock probably goes up into your...
Dude, I felt it all. And I was like, dude, I remember, like, I picked him up. I'm like, dude, why didn't you tap? I gave you time. Are you okay? And he's like, oh, I'm all right. God, no, you're not, dude. You couldn't even stand up right.
Yeah.
So then my next match, I get another straight ankle. I win, and then I end up losing. My next match, huge bracket, because my weight class was a very popular one at Battle at the Beach. I think it was probably the biggest bracket they had. It was like 20 or 30 people actually. So I got some wins, just as many as I got losses, right? So I'm 2-2, even KD spread. And then Andrew gives me my purple belt, and I'm like, dude, I don't deserve this. I don't feel like I deserve this. I wanted to win. I wanted to win a bracket. But then I had to think, like, a lot of things. I'm like thinking, like, Andrew knows my jiu-jitsu better than I do, first of all. So I need to respect that. Mm-hmm. But also, if the bracket was just those two guys, I would have won. You know what I mean? Because there were other brackets other people were in where, like, they won 2 matches and they won gold.
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting to see how everything goes. But then I ended up finishing the song, and it came out the way you've heard it many times. And I think I am like very surprised by how well received my music has been. Like, I'm just giving like some sneak peeks on Instagram and stuff, and I've never had my music as well received as it's being, and it's a very cool.
Yeah, I mean,
cool
it
thing.
always feels nice when you get, you know, just that positive feedback on something creative that you put out into the world. Because I mean, I feel like most artists are fairly self-conscious, like, about their art. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know any musician that doesn't worry, like, are people gonna like this?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everyone's always worried about that. No matter how confident you want to pretend you are, you're always like, are people actually gonna listen to this? Like, is this good? So when you get that feedback, it's like, oh, okay, I was doing the right thing. I was right. Like, this is good.
It's a great feeling, man. When's like the first time you guys got like a lot of recognition for like your talent? Like, do you remember that? Like from a performance?
Probably like a talent show, right? In high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was that early?
Yeah, I mean, since our school was small, like, it wasn't necessarily that hard to stand out in the music program. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so like I was always known around school as like the guy who was the drummer, because, you know, I played in all the school bands and stuff. So I would get compliments after, you know, like jazz performances or marching band or concert band. So I was kind of like used to it to an extent, but it's different when you're in a band like that and it's like not your music, it's just your performance. Like, I don't know, for me, there's something more self-conscious about when it's your composition versus like getting a compliment for a cover you did.
Yeah.
Like, it's a slightly different thing.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. So you guys had written that like early, like you were.
Yeah, we were writing in high school.
We were writing. I met Ryder when I was 17 and he was 13.
Oh wow.
Because Ryder, I mean, he's very smart and he skipped a grade.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy.
So
man.
So
that checks out. He's pretty smart.
So he was a freshman when I was a senior. Yeah.
So how did you how'd you click? Like, you both were like.
I mean, we met through Brad Henninger.
Oh, okay.
So I had
Brads, man.
I had reached out. Yeah, the Brads and Scarlet Moon.
Yeah.
They're the extra member. You know, I was looking. I used to play with some guys that I went to school with, like in elementary school, middle school, and they were fine. We had a great time, but they just weren't as serious about music as I was. You know, I still like those guys to this day, but it was just like, you know, they were more into sports and stuff and whatever. So I was looking for more people to jam with, and I was like, well, I should look for older people because I feel like they're probably going to be better than me. So that'll be, you know, a better experience for me, you know. So I found Brad Henninger on Facebook and sent him a message and talked to him in school, and it was like, yeah, let's hang out and jam. So then me and him started hanging out. We were bonding over like Avenged Sevenfold. And then he was like, oh, I know this guy that this senior that plays guitar. We should invite him over.
Brad's your age?
Brad he's a year older than me.
Nice.
So and then it was Nick. So this guy that he was all excited about that he had met was Nick, and then Nick came over and we started jamming together, and it didn't take that long till we started to click, I'd say.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, we've definitely like evolved and changed, obviously.
Yeah.
Over time. Like, what I would consider a good guitar player back when I was like 17 isn't exactly like, you know.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, you kind of you
100%.
learn and you develop with your instrument.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, man. I didn't consider myself a good guitarist. I still don't. Shit.
Yeah, facts.
I
Yeah,
mean?
like I
know, like, it's crazy considering like I do certain things well, but to be a guitarist, like, I respect that title.
Yeah.
Of, like, to be or maybe not. Like, you can pick up a guitar and be a guitarist, but to be a like virtuoso guitarist is like the crazy high echelon. But I feel like there's something in between that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the term good is far from virtuoso, right? But like I'm the same mindset too, where it's like I hear some people play and I'm like, yeah, I'm not that good.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's crazy, man. Like there's different styles of guitar that lean into certain skills on guitar better than others. Like
Yeah.
I've been going to the Grape Room a ton lately in Philly, and there's one dude that's an excellent. They jam, right? So there's like an open jam, it's like 10-minute jam session. Just do your thing, like whatever you want to play, you play. And there's a ton of guys there where like they're just. I don't know if I would consider them like jazz, but they're definitely like rock and blues dudes, and they're good. But then there's some things they do that are just like, whoa, dude! Like the consistency on your like, I don't know, repetitive licks. Like that's one thing I'm not very great at. But then like I'll do a sweep, and they'll be like, whoa, and I'm like, dude, this is not a great sweep.
Yeah.
Like this is an okay sweep. Like this is not high up on the Yngwie Malmsteen fucking sweep ladder, you know what I mean? But it's just interesting that like different genres lend to different skills. Like even bluegrass guys. You ever play with some bluegrass guys?
Yeah, I mean, I play bluegrass guitar, and it's I play it somewhat poorly, but it's
hard.
It's such a specific thing. I mean, there's a reason that there aren't many bluegrass musicians that do other things.
Yeah.
You rarely hear about a bluegrass musician that also has a rock band or also plays in a jazz band.
Yeah.
It's rare because it's such like a specific style that you have to dedicate your time to that.
Yeah.
It's the same if you want to be like a super fast, like grindcore thrash kind of guitar player, you have to spend hours getting your hands up to speed. And there's no way around it. And if you stop, your chops are going to go down and you're not going to be able to play it anymore.
Yep.
And that's kind of how bluegrass is. And like there's genres like you can get away with it, like blues. I feel like most guitar players know some blues and are passable blues players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just certain things that you need to put that level of time in, and it can be rewarding, but it's a big commitment.
I agree, man. I couldn't agree more, man. What about you? What's like you jam with any like weird genres where you're just like, wow, like you respect like with a weird thing that they're able to do that's not that you like is difficult, but it's not something you see in your
I especially
genre
think
as much?
like world music. A lot of
World music?
A lot of us like in like America, right? We view music from other countries as like world music. But that's like, I mean, there's so many fucking people and so many musicians in the world that there's so many different genres, right? And Ryder's big into Japanese music, and just like looking at different chord progressions from different places of the world and the styles of music in those countries, it's like, wow. Like, there's a lot of different music out there that a lot of us, living here just don't know about.
Yeah, like what's like you like Japanese stuff? What's like in anime? You get like a lot of like 2, 4, 5, 6 interval stuff or something like that.
No,
what is it?
No, it's. I mean, you can.
I remember. I looked into this, and I'm trying to remember. Like, there's.
But there. So I can't tell you like the numbers like offhand about like what a popular like
I might have it written
K-pop
down.
say chord progression would be. But I've known from what I've seen is there's a fair amount of key change.
Yeah, lots of key changes in jazz chords. Like, I know the guy that did the soundtracks for like all the Miyazaki movies, like Spirited Away and like all those. A lot of those songs open with ninth chords. Like the opening chord will be a ninth chord, which
they
like
do 4, 5, 3, 6. That's like really popular.
4, 5, 3, 6.
Yeah, we're like, and then in comparison, like America in the pop music, it's like it's 4, 5, 3, 6, and in Western music, it's more 1, 5, 4, or 1, 5, 6, 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that's like your Wonderwalls and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But like one of the amazing things that like once you start to get into like music from outside of the US is you realize how sheltered you are from a lot of it, like, and how hard it can actually be to find some of that stuff. So like I got big into Japanese city pop, which is like this sort of like jazz fusion-y pop kind of stuff from like the 70s and 80s. And a lot of that stuff is so hard to find because a lot of the artists, like this guy Tatsuro Yamashita's like the #1 city. He's the city pop guy.
Yeah.
None of his stuff is on streaming services because he just hasn't he's like, people buy CDs and albums in Japan. Like, is just kind of the attitude. So like the only way to get his stuff is if you buy, like, get CDs imported, or you listen to it on YouTube, or you know, sail the high seas and find it however you find it. Like, and it's like, that's just, you start realizing that there's all this music, like some of it doesn't even get recorded. You know, there's stuff that does get recorded but gets put out on small labels that you'll never find on Apple Music, even if it is there.
Yeah.
Like I find stuff all the time on streaming services that, like, you have no idea it's even there. It's just buried in the archives, and their genre sections aren't that well, and their searches aren't that well, and some of the stuff you just never find. And it's great, incredible music with so much to offer.
Yeah.
Like
you have to put me on.
I spend hours, like, every week just, like, searching for things, like, just trying to find new things that I haven't heard of. Like I go out of my way, and it's still hard to find that stuff. It's crazy. Like, I wish there was more, like, cross-pollination between the U.S. and other music. Because, like, outside of the U.S., they get inspiration from our music, like, a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
But I feel like the U.S., a lot of it just stays internal. Like, there aren't as many people in the U.S. being like, oh, yeah, I'm super into, you know, Latin music, or I'm super into Japanese music, or, you know, gamelan music, or Arab music, or, like, all these other things. I feel like there's a lot less of that coming in.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. I think you have a lot of foreign people.
Yeah, that definitely does help.
But I think, like you're saying, like, for the Japanese stuff, like, when I'm thinking of, like, a band that's American that uses a lot of, like, external influence from other countries, I think of, like, Tool with, like, the tabla drums from, like, India and stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff. And lately, like, there's an amazing composer by the name of David Maxim Michik from, I think he's somewhere in Russia, I'm pretty sure, like, or Germany or something, maybe Ukrainian. I got to look it up again. I don't know. But he's so good, man. And it's just, like, such unique composure ideas. Like, the way he produces his music is unique. And he melds a lot of different genres. And it influenced my album, my EP. Like the chants and stuff at the end of Week Like in a Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is like, I might not have tried something so ambitious if I didn't listen to that regularly and know how I could make it sound good in the context of the song, in the context of the EP.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken so many ideas from, you know, from other, like, other cultural, you know, albums and whatnot that I like. Like, there's this Pakistani singer, I think he's from Pakistan, called Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. He passed away years ago, but he was this Qawwali singer. And the rhythms that he would use in his vocals, the melodies, it's just so unique and impressive. Like, he's, like, doing polyrhythms with his vocals and, like, all kinds of crazy stuff. And, like, I'd take some of those rhythmic ideas and turn them into fills. Like, because
that's cool.
Because it's like, I listen to the album all the time. Like, I love listening to it in the shower because it's, like, a very beautiful, calming album. Most, if anyone wants to check it out. Great album. But, you know, that stuff just, like, seeps into my brain. Like, the more I listen to it, and then it just comes out naturally. Like, just the way that it does.
That's awesome, man. Have you been influenced by anything, like, foreign recently?
John Coltrane says, listen to the birds.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You like you love nature. You get a lot of influence from that? Because, like, all right, y'all don't know this, but Nick swims at, like, midnight in lakes and shit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the stars look better at night.
100%, man. Especially, like, in your neck of the woods, there's not as much light pollution.
Yeah, well, when you're in the middle of the lake, there's even less.
Yeah.
Far from anything.
Yeah.
So
tell me, like, have you been influenced by, like, nature in your music? You listen to the birds, get some melodies?
Yeah, hey, we're listening to it all the time, man. Listen to our footsteps, our heartbeat, the birds.
I dig it, man.
Yeah.
I take rhythms from real life a lot too, like, especially, like, mechanical things. Like, I know whenever I come to Philly and I'm, like, walking and I hear the train's always very inspiring for me,
dude,
rhythmically, because there's, like, all sorts of clanging and banging and Or just, you're walking down the street and you find yourself like walking in a weird polyrhythm to something else that's going on.
Yeah.
Like I keep my ear out for that stuff, especially when I'm in, like I said, like Philly or something, and there's like so much going on.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man.
Breath cadence.
Yeah, that too.
What'd you say?
Breath cadence.
Breath cadence.
Yeah.
Do you breathe at a certain BPM?
Depends on what I'm doing.
I guess so.
Yeah. Like I was in the sauna the other week for 67 minutes at 210 at LA Fitness. Well,
All at once?
yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
believe you.
I was surprised when
Medium
I got
in
or
there
medium
for
rare?
67 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Because I was testing my mind, right? Because it's like
You didn't get dizzy and lightheaded and shit?
a little bit, yeah, but I didn't fall in the coals or
Sounds
nothing.
like you were well done.
Yeah, man.
I was pretty well
Was it
done.
not that hot in there?
It felt great afterwards, though. Just because I heard this from Huberman on Rogan, right? Where I think he said, like a sauna session, like I think it's like 120 minutes or so, is like it increases your growth hormone. Like
For real? He's
a
saying
bunch.
to do it that long? That's crazy.
because
For
if
what
you do it,
temperature,
so
bro?
it doesn't need to be straight, right? I was doing this as like a mental exercise.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was like advocating I think like 20-minute sessions or something. This was at like 210.
A week?
210, 212. Yeah.
Yeah, well, 20
Yeah,
minutes seems a lot more reasonable than.
Yeah. Yeah, and different
Like an
sessions. I
hour.
actually think the sessions is harder though. Because like once you get out, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like once you're in, it's like you're going to war with yourself, and it's interesting because I was doing meditative breathing to slow down my heart rate and just realized like, all right, I'm not dying. I have my gallon. I have my electrolytes. I'm fine.
You drank a lot while you were in
Of
there?
course. Well, I'm not gonna fucking kill myself
I
on
guess.
purpose.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking the last time I did a sauna test, if you will, was way back when I got double gold at a jiu-jitsu tournament, actually. But I had to weight cut.
Oh.
And I remember
right.
what I did. I had my water with me, and it was not for drinking. It was for dumping on my head when I got lightheaded, because I still was up like 3 pounds after, and the fight was the next day. So I'm like, well, or maybe it was like 5 pounds. I don't remember, but it was like, got to lose this weight. So I am in there, dump water on my head. I get too lightheaded after like X amount of time. I'd walk outside, fill the water bottle up, breathe a little bit, get ready, back in. 5 minutes,
Yeah.
dump, check the time again, out. I did that till I was on point with the weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit is rough, though.
It's amazing.
to
I mean,
sit in there
and-
even with a drink for an hour
and-
or more, though. Ugh.
well, just like breath cadence is like what really kept me going.
Doesn't
you
it
know?
hurt to inhale after a while?
No.
It must
And
not have been
afterwards,
that
it feels like
hot.
you did like a big time workout.
Of course.
You know, and it's like, my body's completely leaned out afterwards, and it's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna go in, obviously, like, because if you go in too much, your body gets used to it. It gets used to the heat, right? So there's like that sweet spot, especially in sauna work, where the effects.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain
Yeah.
temperatures you're not going to get used to, though.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts to breathe sometimes.
First, well, 210, 212. That's a pretty sweet spot. That's a normal sauna temperature.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's
like some of
tricky
those-
at LA because, like, the Puerto Rican dudes that I used to train with, they would
Everybody
take the
dumps
towel and
Yeah.
then put the cold towel over
Yeah.
the temperature.
That's why
Yeah.
they have a sign there now. It's like, please don't dump
Do
water
that.
over the coals.
Dude, that shit's been there, bro. We never. They would pour
but
like
yo,
eucalyptus shit on it, and the one old dude would get all mad. It's like, dude, shut up, bro.
There was some
This
guy
is
actually
awesome.
complaining
He's
to
doing
me
it for
about
free.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so funny, man.
Yeah. But yeah, breath cadence I think is like very important to whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I want to get a tub pretty soon so I can do ice baths every morning.
Yeah,
So I heard Rogan, he does like 3 minutes of ice baths every morning, and I just think that's like, the beginning of your day, it's either make or break, right? And like today I had a pretty good morning where I woke up, I practiced guitar, I went for a run before I came here. I did like a lot of good things to my body.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times, you wake up and you're just like, whatever, I'm sleep deprived, I need to stay in bed. But I mean, you're defeating every bad thing you do in the morning, you're defeating yourself.
like what? Like hitting the snooze.
Yeah, like hitting the snooze, going on your phone, checking social media, being fucking self-conscious, like first thing in the morning. You know, it's like a lot of people are slaves to their phone. And
dude, yeah.
I was, you know, just like going through like life's different phases, you know. Like I've been in some pretty dark places mentally, and
yeah,
I think like among the biggest therapy is going for a walk in the woods, because that's what we're meant here to do.
Yeah.
Right. And walking is an incredible exercise that nobody talks about. Like walking is so good for you. Like you hear you should go like 10,000 steps. So imagine how great like 15,000 steps a day is.
Yeah.
Right? Low impact exercise. You're not going to kill your joints walking a ton. And if you're in nature, you're around so much life.
Yeah.
Plants are everywhere.
Vibrant.
Animals, by bodies of water.
That's awesome, man.
I love that shit first thing in the morning.
For sure.
Yeah.
You go on hikes in the morning?
Yeah, I go. There was a time where I went for a hike every day. Like earlier this year, I just went for a hike every day because I don't necessarily like living like how like we're supposed to, where we're working 40 hours a week and stuff. But like you got to do what you got to do, right? And it's like, how do I mold my lifestyle around that where I can still stay like financially good?
Yeah.
Right. And I always found like I felt better going for a walk in the woods first thing in the morning versus going to work first thing in the morning. Then where I'm going to be more dependent on caffeine. And
yeah, man, I have a good friend at work right now that we kind of discuss the circadian rhythms and the balance of nature versus like productivity, if you want to call it that, right? Modern productivity. And it's very interesting. Like he was telling me, like he tries to avoid caffeine for the first 2 hours of your day.
Yeah, I do too.
Huberman says that or something too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like it's usually like I'm between an hour and a half to 2 hours when I drink my first. I know some people that like wake up and they have like they got to make their cup of joe before they leave the door. That's insane. That's madness, bro.
Yeah,
you gotta let your body kind of figure things out. Like even on the drive, like the drive is I hate to drive in Philly, to be honest, but
sure.
In the morning, you know, it definitely allows you to kind of like charge your batteries up in some semblance. It also drains some. Like there's certain times when I get to work, I need a cup of coffee because I'm just like stuck in traffic behind people that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
I hate that, but it's interesting, man. How do you balance being a personality and requiring the modern presence of having like a social media presence and like being a healthy human?
Well, I mean my social media now is just based around like just the stuff I do, which is like competing in endurance races and playing music and creating things, and then I guess whatever fun things I'm doing, you know, with my friends and my loved ones.
Yeah.
Right.
But how do you mitigate the addiction to your phone?
To social media? Oh, well, my phone addiction is, and we all have one to an extent, and I think the greatest balance is to not be on your phone first thing in the morning. And like that's why I always think like I think working second shift for me is a little bit easier because I can wake up early and do things I like, because your brain is most productive. I mean, so it's different per person, right? Like some people find like creativity, like you, like at nighttime.
I also am a night owl.
Right.
My most productive hour is like 10 p.m.
So when you're working second shift, you can still have like really late night hours doing creative things, right? Like say you get done at work at like 9 or something. Or you could also have productive things first thing in the morning when you wake up and then have the day to work. Because it's like working first shift, what I feel is like working like 8 to 4 is that like those hours means that I have to go to bed early. So I lose the late night, you know, creativity binge. And then I also lose like the early mornings of the daytime to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You like it really early? Like, what time are you going out on a hike on a regular basis?
It depends on what I'm doing. Like, I have no problems waking up at like 5 in the morning to go for a run or a swim because
dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, that's stuff I look forward to, and when I don't have it,
that's so cool that you are able to just say like, no, this is what I like, this is what I know is gonna work, and stick to it.
Yeah.
Because me, like, I know I love a ton of things that do like great things for me mentally and physically, and sometimes I'm just a piece of shit. And I just
the hardest part for me is like eliminating snacks.
Oh,
I
dude.
love snacking. Like, I eat pretty healthy, especially compared to most people.
Yeah.
But man, I love a nice snack.
Yeah, dude. My girlfriend likes to get a lot of like snacks. And good thing for me is I don't like the snacks she gets.
Really? What does she get?
Well,
like, talk about your snack preferences.
Well, she likes like mint chocolate, and I don't like. Yeah, you know what I mean. Which is great. Which is great because I'm not like, if I'm in a snack mood, it's got to be what I want. Yeah, then you know what I mean. Like, I want some cheese.
No, I would sooner starve before eat like a Klondike bar or something. You know what I mean? Just keep the mint away from the chocolate.
Yeah.
You like Klondike bars?
No, I said I'd starve before I'd eat a Klondike.
Oh, okay. All right. We're on the same boat then. All right.
You don't like the Klondikes?
Not really, bro. It's like dad ice cream.
Or peppermint patty, like, you know, just
peppermint patty is trash,
keep it,
bro.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Is your mic close to you? It's hard for me to tell. The Ryder, we just want to decide. Is it good? Is he close enough?
Yeah, it should be.
All right. Good. I'm just making sure.
I think I'm talking with somewhat appropriate volume.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, what about like another snack I don't like? Like jelly beans she got.
That's like, all right, when I was like 6 and then I turned 7, I'm like,
if I got Laffy Taffies over there, bro, the whole bag's getting destroyed, bro. That's why I don't buy that stuff. I just don't buy it.
I don't know. I felt like that shit, like, I kind of like outgrew a little bit, like the Airhead sort of like.
Yeah, but I'm
candies.
saying, like,
I mean, I'm not saying
there's
it's like
certain
disgusting.
candies I really like, and there's certain candies that like, certain candies will satiate my junk food desires. And certain ones won't. So like, I'll eat one jelly bean and I'll just be like a dog, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I actually do.
Like, I'm still looking.
Like, I'm curious about this broccoli, but actually I don't want it. You know what I mean?
I find like jelly beans and like that sort of like gummy candy sphere to be, I feel to be like straight sugar. You know, like if you're like just looking for a sugar binge, like that's the snack for you. But like. When I come to sweets, I'm a huge chocolate and peanut butter fiend.
Oh, dude,
so I gravitate towards that.
Peanut butter, like some good, like I love like a salty chip, like salt and vinegar, like Chex Mix.
Chex Mix, bro, like bold Chex Mix.
But you know what my favorite thing is though, like blueberries. It's a good thing that I love blueberries because I'll dog some blueberries.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for me, so I don't have to worry about. Like it being a bad decision because like I'm snacking on nature's candy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like so I try to buy that stuff, but it's all about what you buy. Like when I'm at the grocery store, dude, I'm usually really well disciplined. Like I the snacks that I eat are other people's snacks that like they'll bring to my house or when I'm visiting you, and like you just have like some fucking combos or something. I'm like, oh, dude, I haven't had these in forever. Oh,
that's what people, you know, like they see like how much I work out and whatever and push my body, and they're like, how come you don't have a 6-pack? I was like, so your boy likes to eat.
Yeah. For real, dude, it's super deceptive. Like how much of an athlete you are. Like your endurance and stamina is like crazy. Like people do not understand that. But you like, it's because you eat fucking Indian food once a week.
Sometimes more, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think the last time I had it was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, dude, I could go for some. I'll bet you there's some bomb Indian food in Philly.
Well, hey, this festival's BYOB. Bring your own biryani.
Yeah, dude. Bring your own brioche.
Preferably goat biryani.
Oh yeah, that's your jam.
It's 100% my jam, dude. I love goat.
What's the best naan?
I like bullet naan.
What's bullet naan?
Bullet naan's like, I think there's dried chilies on top of it. It's like shitting fire type of food, right?
Just pure flames.
Yeah, recently, man, I just
Oh
like
my
my shits have been like so explosive that I had to like calm down on like the spicy shit. Cause I can eat spicy shit, so my body's like, bro, stop. So I love it.
Your body's
Dude,
like,
you push your body with what you consume. Like you eat lemons like with the rind on and everything. Like how does your body handle that? Like you don't get like hemorrhoids from doing that?
No, I've never had a hemorrhoid.
That's crazy.
I
bro.
find
Wait till
that
you
hard
turn
to
30,
believe,
bro.
honestly.
For real, bro.
I don't
That's
know.
super hard to believe. Oh my god. Nick's over here wiping until he sees blood and shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that happens sometimes, but
then you probably had a hemorrhoid.
that's when. Yeah, maybe.
Damn, dude.
but right now it's my bowels
What
have been
the
all
hell?
right because
Yeah.
I've been off the spicy food. Like I get medium now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the other day I got some like extra spicy goat pepper fry.
Oh.
And bro, I mean that gave me an excuse at least like when working to be in the bathroom all day, cuz then it's like, all right, well, I had some goat pepper fry, like you can't fault me.
Yeah.
There's some incredibly spicy food in my system.
Yeah.
I mean, they might say maybe you shouldn't have eaten the ghost pepper fries at
Yeah, it's
lunch.
like,
Goat pepper.
Yeah.
Oh, goat
Yeah,
pepper.
And then Nick can just
Yeah.
respond and say, well, I am an American, so hold that. Like, I'm free to put whatever I want in this machine.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's funny as hell, dude. I think yeah, man, I've had I think some of the best Indian food I've had was in New Jersey.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
the spot called?
I don't know. I wish I remember. The Black Basement Crew used to get it. But they had this cashew curry thing. That was
Like a korma?
dude, I don't know what it was. But it
Okay.
was so good. And I would do that. It's so funny because I remember like we would do jujitsu and then get the food.
Yeah.
And I remember like Matt would laugh because I'm just dogging
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And he's like, bro, you're just
Oh.
in the zone right now. Like,
Bro, that's
because I'd get you, dude. We would train for hours.
you did jujitsu after you ate that?
No, before. Get out of here. You crazy?
Okay, I'm just okay. All right.
Bro,
I
the
was about
farts
to
that would be coming out of me. Oh my god, I pity the fool, man.
Yeah, bro. I went for runs like after eating like spicy Indian
After you
food.
had the runs,
It's not fun. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, but I prefer to do it afterwards.
Punishing, yeah. It's punishing. You gotta
Yeah.
eat the right stuff. Yeah. So like triathlon, right? So you just did a triathlon.
I-
That is insane.
I'm new into the triathlon game,
But
so
what-
like I'm
tell
no
me
expert by any
What
means.
did you do as far as nutrition to prepare for a triathlon? Your first one, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've done an Olympic one in Lake by Lake Nakamixon in Quakertown. And so this was Olympic sized, right? So this wasn't like
deal.
an Ironman or half Ironman, but this was further than a sprint. Diet wise for it, it's kind of like you got to watch your diet when you're not training, because like ultra endurance or anything in that frame of mind, like I think anything above like a 5K run when it comes to diet is you're basically satiating yourself with the proper amount of calories,
Yeah.
right? Getting the proper amount of protein, but the protein comes in the calories you're eating generally, right? Like any diet that's eliminating any sort of caloric intake, that's not good. You know, you'd rather eat too much than too little when it's
when
a
you're
lot
doing
of,
an endurance sport.
yeah, so it's a lot of carb based things, right? So it's a lot of lasagna.
You make your own
Spaghetti.
lasagna?
No, I just get it from the pizza shop.
Oh yeah, they hook it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah. Just everything just to keep me fueled, because we're training so much.
Yeah.
We're burning so many calories doing whatever, then plus the weight training, which adds even more calories you're burning.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's like in the off season when I'm not training is when I've got to watch my diet. And then I'm eating mostly like vegetables and meat based foods versus like high carb based foods, because I'm not burning that amount of calories. You see what I'm saying?
I guess.
So it's like if I require 4,000 calories when I'm training, right? When I'm like running, say, 6-7 miles a day, or I'm swimming a mile and a half a day, and I'm doing weight training on top of that, I'm gonna need denser foods. versus if I'm not training at all and I'm just sitting around and like walking here and there, that I'm gonna be obese if I'm eating like I am training for a race.
So what did you do the day before and the day of, like before you were about to do the race?
So I went to a wedding the day before my triathlon and slept maybe like 4 hours.
Oh my god. That's insane.
So that wasn't, I don't recommend that. I mean, I recommend going to the wedding because you got to show your love, you know?
Yeah.
I can say what I did for my 5K swim down in Florida.
Yeah.
That I was very prepared for.
Well, what did you, for this triathlon, like what did you eat?
For the triathlon.
Yeah.
Before the race?
Yeah.
Wedding cake?
Nah, yeah, I ate like chicken, rice, like sort of thing.
So you ate smart. You didn't.
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
ate.
eat
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, I ate smart. I made sure not to drink. You know, like I was serious about it. I just couldn't sleep the night before.
Mm-hmm. You were anxious. You had anxiety.
Yeah, for my first one, I did.
I could see.
Yeah,
that.
Especially because like I only trained running up until that point, and now I've done like multiple swimming races, you know, and stuff since. But the day of, I ate a bunch of Cliff Bars. That's a ton of empty carbohydrates.
Was that a good move?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good move. Meat takes a lot longer to process.
Fair enough.
You don't want to eat, you know, when I did the 5-mile swim in Blue Marsh, all I had to eat was like a bunch of hamburger and rice. Just empty fuel.
That's good.
Yeah, unseasoned. Just it's garbage food. Like if you ate it, you'd be like, "What are you eating, bro?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm eating stuff to just fuel my body so I don't die.
Yeah. That's funny. You don't cramp up usually.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I just deal with it. Yeah, dude. Like when I'm swimming, like
yeah, dude,
I deal with I deal with the cramps. You know, like when I most recently did a 5K swim in a pool in February. And it was a 25-meter pool, so it was 200 laps.
You're just going bounce back forth.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I lost count. I thought I had count, but I swam a little extra. There was a person that was keeping count for the official time and everything. But towards like
your buddy? Was it Mike?
No, it wasn't a buddy. It was like somebody that was actually with the person who was with the organization that was doing the 5K swim. Like this was a competition.
Oh, really?
Like yeah. This wasn't like anything that I was just doing for the kicks and giggles, though I would have. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it seems like some shit you would just do on a weekend. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, towards the end of it, I think like the last 10 laps, I was like really giving it my all. So in the flip turns, I was really pushing off like extra hard, and then I felt my foot cramp. I was like, all right, well this happened before in training, so I just like kick harder with one foot. Well, the other one's kind of like limp until like the cramp goes away, and then I did another flip.
It don't hurt.
It hurts, but you just deal with the pain.
God, dude. I would die.
And then my calf started cramping up.
Oh,
and then I couldn't hide it no more. So I started doing the backstroke for like the last lap, and then I finished.
That's funny.
But yeah, the cramps, they happen, and obviously there was an error with my nutrition for my calf to cramp that much. So I'm still new to the sport, right? So there's a lot to learn.
we'll have to go on a journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. Tell me about the Miami thing. I know you said you wanted to go.
Oh, my diet. Oh, dude, I ate like a pig before that. I'm like, I'm gonna carb load so much. So I had.
What was in Miami? Was that a triathlon?
No, it was in it was in St. Pete Beach, so near Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah. I had I think lobster. I want to say empanadas. Yeah, okay. Lobster empanadas.
Oh, that sounds good.
I had 2 lobster empanadas. I had some pad thai, not spicy pad thai.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You're getting into some dangerous neighborhood now.
Yeah, it was all right. Pad thai works okay with me.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of Cliff Bars, just very full, you know. Like this is not a bodybuilding show. Like I can, I can appear in a little extra plump if the fat's gonna be used, like in my benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
How many calories do you think you burn?
doing a 5K swim, you burn in the ocean's a little bit more because you're fighting like a current, I think. But I don't think it's that much more because you're still traveling like the same as you would in a pool. But it's around, I believe, like 1,200 calories. Yeah.
That's it, 1,200?
Yeah, it's a little less than you'd think.
That is a lot less than I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's not very much at all. 1,200?
Yeah, about.
I gotta think about that more. I feel like you burn a lot doing like a max out, like a weight max out, like if you're doing like your max squat.
Well, it's like,
I feel like
it's like
isn't that a couple hundred calories to pull that off. Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like
but
it might
max
be.
squat also takes a lot out of you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, like this. I mean, for like a 5K swim, depending on like, it'll take a lot out of you, like doing like race pace, right? But it's like, so for the conversions, it's like 4 miles of running is like a mile of swimming. And
really,
yeah,
man, that's so crazy. Like I believe you, but that's not what I would think.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Swimming is like very efficiency based, right? Like teaches you like how to work your body, like how to float properly and how to use your arms as paddles and your legs as a motor.
Tell me about it. Show me something.
Yeah.
Like how do you hold your
Well,
hand?
you want your fingers to go in first. The first thing, and then there's it's the point called the catch where you catch the water and then pull. That's a lot of lats while you kick in a rhythm with your stroke.
Are you pretty in sync with your swimming? Like, do you think your body synergy is good? Like, you're motoring good while you move your hands?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not.
It's good. I feel like
probably have a very
people kick.
I'm like
way more.
I'm like some world music when I'm doing that.
People definitely kick more than they should. Like beginner swimmers and stuff, and that tires them out. Because in reality, like you can guide yourself with your arms. The kick's definitely important, obviously, for optimal swimming.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just gotta. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot I'm doing wrong. Like I've never been coached yet, but I'm getting coached this summer.
That's cool.
So,
how much does that cost?
It's like 100 for like an hour session. Yeah.
That's not terrible.
So,
probably. It's a little steep, but.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Like
is it
it's
like
valuable information.
Is it like an Olympic coach?
Someone
reputable?
that's she swam the English Channel, so somebody who very much knows what they're doing.
Been around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's sick, man. So, curious, what got you wanting to do that, man?
Oh, I mean, I've always loved it.
Yeah, enduring sports.
Yeah, and I think like I mean, I've been addicted to the runner's high since I was like 13 or so.
Yeah.
Right, like that's when I started doing cross country.
Yeah, I've only ever had that
running.
a couple times. You have to really push yourself to get that runner's high, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just love it though.
You ain't getting that off a light jog.
Yeah, I'm definitely a junkie for it, and it's very addictive to me, and it's just like wow. And then I see like what I'm capable of doing, and then I'm like, oh, I want to do more and more. And this is anything. This is like with cold showers too, like all the cold showers I get, and I'm just like, and I think. The reason that I'm not going into this cold shower is because I'm scared, and then that like insults me. And
That's awesome.
Then I start fighting myself, and then it's just like, all right, motherfucker.
That's awesome.
Like,
who do you follow? Like, what are some of your guys?
Well, Goggins, obviously,
Goggins,
right? Like
course,
this is some Goggins sort of thinking.
Yeah.
And it's just true. It's just like if you force yourself, like, all right, dickhead, like stop being sad. You know, like any sort of life troubles that I've gone through. Workouts have always been there, and music has always been there for me.
Yeah.
And people will always be there for you, but you see people at a certain place in time, and you cannot control other people, but you can control yourself, and you can control what you do. So I'm trying to optimize that as much as I can.
Yeah, that's sick, man. That's awesome to hear that. What about you, man? Like, we've been letting Nick riff on the athletic journey thing. You doing any
as far as that
athleticism
goes,
lately?
I'd say I'm more of a hedonist kind of vibe. You know, I'm not like, if I'm feeling hot, I'll get a cold shower. If I'm cold, I'll get a hot shower. I'm gonna do what's like enjoyable and like, you know, like there is like a, you know, I like to stay active, you know, like go on hikes and walks in the woods and, you know, playing the drums. Obviously, you sit down at the drums for an hour or two, you're gonna be sweaty. Like, there's ways that I stay active, but I'm also not like the kind of guy to wake up and go in an ice bath and like I'm here to enjoy it and have fun and punishing myself to get in an ice bath every morning. It's like, hey, if that's what you know gets you going, great. But for me, I'd rather like, you know, just like lay in bed for a minute and like listen to a song and, you know, like relax a bit. Like,
That's cool. So you have like a song you listen to when you wake up?
no, I do all kinds of different things. Like sometimes I'll wake up and I'll just grab a guitar and just, you know,
That's cool.
strum some stuff. Or
That's a great way to wake
or I'll
up,
just,
too.
you know, sometimes I'll go and grab a CD and put it in. That way, like when I'm doing, you know, getting ready or whatever in the morning, there's something on, kind of.
That's wild.
Getting
dude.
my
You're probably
brain moving.
You're probably the youngest person ever to say I put in a CD.
No, I do too, and my aux cords break.
Yeah, but he's younger than you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I put records on sometimes in the morning too.
Let me
Like-
tell you,
How uncommon is that? Because like we were kind of chatting about this. Like how old are you?
I'm 27.
Yeah. So like, would you consider yourself a millennial?
Yes, a young millennial.
But you would consider yourself like.
I generally, I mean, I fall in the brackets of Gen Z.
Yeah.
I always felt that I was a little bit in between just because, like, where I lived was more rural, so I didn't have the technology. Like, I didn't have an iPhone in 4th grade or anything. Like,
Yeah.
So, but I still mostly identify like Gen Z, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Just like the animes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just like the internet culture, the memes, and like a lot of that stuff. Like it, you know, my brain sort of gets that stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, you also hung out with a lot of millennials too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You hung out with me and my friends.
Yeah, most
a
of my
lot.
friends are older too. So
Yeah.
that kind of.
I kind of got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. So tell me, what does someone who balances on the rope between Gen Z and millennials, what does your experience tell you about human nature?
I mean, I think humans are humans. I think they're generally positive. There's some people that are just fucked up, but I think most people at their core want to be good people, even if they're not. Like, even people that I think have, like, horrible views for the most part, I think they mean well. They just, you know, don't realize they're not. But I think people are better than most people give them, you know, a chance. Like, I think people, like, have this tendency to just be like, oh, everybody's an asshole, and, you know, if you leave your car door open, you're going to get robbed immediately, and, like...
Immediately.
And, like, a lot of that stuff, you know, like, look, if I'm coming down to Philly and I'm parking in the street, I'm going to lock my car doors, okay? That's just reality.
Yeah.
But, like, I'll go to Redner's sometimes and, you know, leave the doors open and nothing happens. Like, there's still a lot of good people in the world.
Yeah.
And I think people discount that sometimes these days because you see what you see online, you see the controversy, you see, you know, the people getting worked up about things, but you don't see that person like at home just chilling in the evening, you know, having a good time with their friends. Like,
yeah. That's interesting, man. What is like a big thing that you see that kind of is maybe like, because you're seeing like the millennials are, you know, you probably see the goods and the bads of both kind of being like on the line between them.
Yeah.
What are like a pros and cons of both that you think like a lot of millennials do this well, but a lot of them like mess up here, and then the same for like the Gen Z?
I mean, I guess I'll just start with the Gen Z. I feel like Gen Z does have a very unique way of looking at things in a lot of ways. Just
Tell me about it, man. Like,
just
I want to hear it from your perspective.
Well, it's
Because
just-
for me,
it's
I see
just
a lot
like a
of Gen
younger
Zs and,
perspective. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's just like, you know, when we grew up, 9/11, like we just grew up with that having happened. Like we grew up with all these wars in the Middle East, like
Yeah.
been going on, and oh yeah, the economy crashed when we were in elementary school too, and like
yeah.
it's just a very different perspective. Like so many of us have grown up with the internet.
Yeah,
You know-
100%. I think that's the biggest thing. The millennial generation is the last one to have gone from no internet to internet.
Yeah.
So we have a very unique perspective on the world, I think.
Yeah.
Every person I talk to, I can have a interesting conversation about that.
Yeah, and I grew up, I had dial-up at my house until fairly recently. It was like we didn't have good internet, But at the same time, it was like, yeah, I still had a phone and like Facebook and, you know, but it's like I couldn't play video games with people online. Like there were these weird boundaries around things. But yeah, I think the exposure to technology is the big one. But then you see weird stuff like you hear about, I guess the next generation is like Generation Alpha, I think. I hear weird stuff from like people that I know in schools and stuff sometimes.
What age is that? What would you consider?
I don't know the range, to be honest. I think that's kids that are like in school now. Like kids that are in like, you know, middle school and elementary school now and stuff. And maybe some kids that are in high school too. But like you hear stuff about like them not knowing how to make a folder in a desktop because like they grew up with an iPhone and everything's just like simple and right there. And it's like, well, what do you mean a folder? Like
I see that like I'm an engineer, so like, and I've been working with technology like almost my entire adult life.
Yeah.
But man, it is wild how few people, like, cause I just make the assumption. I'm like, oh, you use a phone, you understand how
basics of a computer. Like,
like you understand how computing works. And then they really have no idea like how the window, like when I pull up like a command prompt, they're like, whoa, you're hacking. I'm like, no, this is very basic stuff.
No, you're hacking, bro. Zeros and ones, man. The Matrix.
For real, dude. It's just so interesting, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's almost like there's like some younger kids that are like that because they've had this exposure to like all this very simple and easy to use technology.
Yeah.
But then on the reverse end, you have people like boomers that like didn't have any of it and they have the same issues because they just didn't have any exposure. Mm-hmm. Like for me, I feel like the technology, like for computers, the sweet spot was kind of like millennial Gen X because they still had to like know how to fuck with things in a computer.
Yeah.
Like you had to know how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
that's really cool that you have that. You're kind of saying like, you know, boomers are this and X is like the same.
Yeah, in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like there are some similarities.
Yeah, like they're not looking at each other where they're similar. They're always trying to find the differences.
But I also think Gen Z is more willing to sort of take totally different perspectives on things, to be like, let's like get rid of landlords, you know, just like crazy shit that like, you know, is pretty radical. And, you know, whether it's necessarily a good idea or not, it's just that they're willing to look at like very far out solutions and ideas and things and actually consider them genuinely.
Yeah.
You know, in a way that I think, you know, and that's like a progression thing. Like every year people are, you know, younger people are open to newer ideas because they were already exposed to what
they're developing as it's developing.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that was a crazy idea in the 60s is just commonplace to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we grew up with this progress already having happened. So it's different things. But
what do you think about the issues with technology addiction and things that like are involved with that for that generation though?
I definitely think it's an issue. I think a lot of the older kids in Gen Z, I feel like people closer to my age sort of like have realized. I think a lot of us, I think we got lucky because we saw how bad Facebook got. So like when Facebook originally went to shit, I mean, because like I remember when Facebook was just like everything that had been posted since the last time you were there. There was no recommended. It wasn't moving the posts around in an algorithm. It was just, here's what everybody you follow posted in chronological order.
Yeah.
And it was just like friends, you know, posting updates and like dumb memes. And then it was like, then people's parents got on Facebook and then they started arguing. And then there was like misinformation and the memes got worse and they started fucking with the feed. And I feel like a lot of people around my age kind of checked out a little bit.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what? Maybe this isn't as cool as we thought it was. Maybe this is kind of like a, you know, I'll keep it, but I'm not going to be going on it every day.
Yeah. So what's like the Gen Z social media platform?
I mean, I guess it's TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've used TikTok. I've watched some stuff on TikTok like that gets talked about on like podcasts or whatever, but I don't actually like have a TikTok account and watch TikTok because it's just like, it's like crack. Mm-hmm. Like TikTok is like the crack of social media.
Yeah.
Like that algorithm is too good. Yeah. It is too good. You go on TikTok and within a week, your algorithm will be the most highly specific, tailored to you things that you never thought could possibly exist. And that's awesome. But it's also just easy to sit there for like 8 hours and just going through videos like of all this oddly specific stuff.
Yeah, man. What about you? You use TikTok?
Nah.
Good man. Good man to the rest of you out there as well. I think I have very specific opinions about TikTok. I think you watch that movie, The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Yeah. So like you have a lot of the American company. You seen it?
No, I don't have Netflix.
I mean, it's a really good thing. You should check it out. I think it might be on YouTube too. I don't know. Anyway, I'll summarize. A lot of the people who are concerned about the ethics behind a lot of the social media platforms basically came out and said, "Yo, we created a monster, and we don't know how to stop
Yeah,
it."
like this shit's fucked up.
This shit is legit. Like, there's people
like, this
who
is
study,
killing teenagers.
Yeah, it is. Like the child suicide rates since the inception of like a lot of the social
like
media,
Facebook and Instagram. I think Instagram in particular, at least when it was at most prominence, because it was just photos, which really I think fucked with people's self-images.
Yep, 100%, dude. But anyway, they actually just came out with a thing called the AI dilemma. The same people. Great video. I'll put you on then. Anyway, a lot of these social media companies in America have what loose ethics they do have. They came out and they said, hey, like, we literally worked with psychology professionals to say, like, yo, how can we manipulate people and tilt them one way or the other by 1%, right? 1 degree, 49.51, right? That's enough to win an election.
Yeah.
It's enough to change the world. To change everything by 1 degree is huge.
Wow.
Yeah. So they basically came out and said, yo, this is messed up. But anyway, TikTok is like a Chinese government thing, and I think like they don't have nearly the ethics that like, and I'm not saying like I'm with Facebook and shit. Like I would love to fight Mark Zuckerberg. Please fight me. I'll challenge you in any rule set. Anyway, yeah, I think it's just it's horrible. Like that it's on the next like echelon of doing really horrible things, and it's people don't realize that we're not immune to propaganda, even though we see it. Like I can look at like my, when someone in my family is like watching like the news, and it's like, dude, you're like always watching like Fox News or something. I'm like, they're literally saying shit about technology that I work in the field, and I can tell you right now, this is not how it works.
Yeah.
And I can show you how it works.
Or they're just talking about
wrong.
like one specific story like all day that's like some like, it'll be like a local, like you see it all the time where they'll pick a local issue that like, obviously people are going to make a narrative out of, whether, like a lot of the right-wing stuff, like Breitbart famously used to have the black crime tab on their website. Like, and you see it on Fox all the time where they'll be like, oh, here's like a black guy who hijacked a car in Philly. Let's spend 9 hours talking about it. Or, you see the same thing on like CNN or MSNBC where they'll like, find some story about like a homeless person who ended up being like a super nice, great person who didn't have any mental illness and was just a good guy down in his luck. And they'll talk about that story for 12 hours.
And they're spinning, and you can identify, you're looking at it as from the outside perspective going like, they're spinning this.
Well, and it's like, they don't even have to spin it. All they have to do is talk about it relentlessly.
For so long. Yeah.
And it's like, when you see it, people are going to come to conclusions about things. Like, they don't have to say what they want you to. They can just get close enough and present the issue in such a way that the conclusion is obvious.
But from the outside perspective, you can see that propaganda.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, there's a lot of that happening when you're not paying attention to things. It happens to you too.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like, you ever go down like a YouTube rabbit hole?
Oh, the YouTube, YouTube one's the scariest to me of all of them, to be honest. The YouTube algorithm's terrifying.
Yeah, dude. I think
so good.
I don't think it. I think the TikTok one's worse, but or scarier rather. But the YouTube one is wild because I think it's so difficult to moderate. And the other thing about it is like when you know a lot about a topic, and then you respect someone who also knows a lot about the topic, and you're trying to see what they think. And you kind of you end up falling into like the political stuff that they're into. I always have to like, it takes me like a week, and then I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't agree with this.
Well,
it's so important to like have that healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah.
And you always got to kind of check it.
Well, the thing that scares me about the YouTube one is that,
Yeah.
like, with TikTok, it's like it's all short, dumb TikTok. Like, I mean, it's not all dumb. Like, there's a lot of, like, history content and, like, good content on TikTok. But it's like, you're on TikTok, there's short videos. Like, I feel like people don't take it quite as serious. Whereas there's stuff on YouTube that's presented, you know, it'll be like an hour-and-a-half documentary about this topic. And you're like, oh, this seems pretty legit. But then it's like, no, this is just a guy who made an hour-and-a-half long video. Like, that doesn't mean he has any credentials.
Yeah.
Like, I think that length aspect of YouTube can really make some people think certain stuff is more legitimate than it is.
Yeah.
Like, whether it is or not, they see, oh, like, this is an hour-and-a-half long documentary. They must have put a lot of time and effort, and they must have, you know, done their research.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you can do, there's like 8-hour videos about flat Earth.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and you can just sit there and watch 8 hours of why the Earth is flat, even though it's obviously not. And, you know, all of a sudden you end up, your entire feed is people talking about the ice wall and, you know, all this nonsense. Like, it's crazy, the rabbit holes you can end up in YouTube.
Yeah, man. And I think, like, the thing is, like, there are dials behind all of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
So, like, if I want everyone to see more of X, I can just make that so.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I didn't realize it until later, but as a kid, YouTube was trying to suck me into, like, the alt-right conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, and it was funny because it started, like, I watched some gaming stuff, you know, like some stuff related to games. And then, like, this was probably around the Gamergate time, so there was, like, this association with, like, gaming content and then more, like, right-wing kind of stuff. So then, you know, it starts recommending you like Alex Jones and like all this conspiracy stuff. And it's like fun and cool as a kid, but it's like, man, like I easily could have ended up being one of these, you know, like crazy right-wingers you see doing, you know, some crazy shit online. Like, and I was a teenager and it was like, I just wanted to watch some, you know, gaming videos, and all of a sudden it's showing me like they're turning the frogs gay or whatever. Like it goes from 0 to 1,000 before you even realize it.
Yeah. 100%.
And like I can totally see how a kid could get like totally sucked up into that, and is, you know, like one of these kids at school that's like, women are bitches, you know, or like they're like saying Andrew Tate shit or whatever the hell they're on, like whatever thing it is, you know, this week that's kids are getting pushed to on social media. Like it's crazy how quick it can happen.
Yeah, man. I think it's good that we have, like, you know who CoffeeZilla is?
Yeah.
I wish we had more people like that, and like Kit Boga. Do you know who that?
Yeah,
is?
they're
the
both
scam
good.
guy.
Yeah.
They're so great. And like even Mark Rober, he's a little kind of cringy sometimes, but like what he's doing for the world, I believe in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to really align myself with like what content I'm consuming. Or I'm saying this wrong. Let me restart the sentence. The content that I'm consuming should be content that aligns with my my ethics radar and just kind of like what I want to impact the world with. I want to make sure that I'm influenced by, you can't say altruists because everyone's got their own agenda, but make sure that their path aligns with mine somewhere so that it's we're working toward a common goal. Because I'm like, you know, there's sayers and doers.
Yeah.
I'm a dude that makes things happen. I believe in local music. I believe in standing for, you know, like independent artists and things like this.
Yeah.
That's why when you said you were putting this together, I'm like 100%. I need to be involved with this. Anything that I can do to make this show go well, I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And I try to do that with everything that I do. Even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Like, there are people out here that are not doing a good job of managing like to pull off like these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu events and things like this. So if it's something where I can get involved and make sure that Jiu-Jitsu is represented better and I can help put out a better product for people I'm friends with, of course, but I'm friends with them on purpose, right? Like I made sure to find good people. So if I can help them build something, the rising tide raises all ships, you know? You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah. But that's good stuff, man. I think, let's see how long we've been going. We've been going for like at least an hour and change, hour and a half or something like that.
I think we started at 4 some, so it's pretty long.
So do you guys have anything else you want to kind of close with? We got anything Scarlet Moon-esque coming up? Got any good album releases or anything like that?
That's all you, Nick.
What's the next album about? Who Turned the Frogs Gay?
I don't know who turned the frogs gay.
The frogs are not gay; they're turning trans. I really wish Alex would have actually, because I find it so funny that of all the things Alex has said, of all the crazy shit, that's the one that became a meme, because that's one of the few that's actually kind of true.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually studies from MIT that chemicals in the water, like pesticide runoff in particular, was basically making frogs change their sex organs.
That's wild.
Like, and that's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just the way that he said it and presented it as they're turning the frogs gay.
Yeah.
Like, it's
funny.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. You know, like, I
always
remember
just found
learning
that
that.
funny.
I took, like, I think it was called field biology in high school. And it's interesting when you see large environmental changes to an ecosystem, the first group of animals that, like, will indicate, like, that will be affected are the amphibians.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that because they breathe through their skin?
I guess it's because they're just more susceptible to whatever's in land.
Well, I think
and
it's
water.
they're in the land, they're in the water. There's the breathing through the skin. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ways that, like,
Holy
if
hell.
something
Affected.
was wrong, they'd get fucked up pretty quick.
First. Yeah, they're the first ones to get hit with it.
Yeah, and especially with all, like, the crazy ass pesticides that we still use on,
Yeah.
like, a lot of shit. Like, it's not really surprising that there's chemicals it's seeping into the soil.
For real.
Like, when you're spraying, like, Roundup and shit on all those crops, like, I mean, a lot of that stuff, like, literally makes you go blind. Like,
For real, yeah. It's wild stuff, man. Scary.
But yeah, back to the show.
We could go on these chemical Norfolk Southern Johns all day.
Yeah.
I just want to say to everybody out there, come out to Mansion MAYhem, May 28th, 5 to 9 p.m. It's going to be a party. Bring your own booze. Hang out with the boys. Hang out with the girls. You know what time it is.
It's party time.
We Scarlet Moon, BradElBard. We signing out.
Peace.
Peace.